Because it seems that if you're black or poor or disadvantaged or special ed, that you won't get a fair shot. Not in your school and not in this city.
It's as if the bar is being constantly raised and the scaffolding underneath is being kicked out from under them. And it isn't fair to our teachers, our schools, or our students.
What brought you out today?
And what brought me out is to get the council to support our schools in Ward 7 and 8. We are one of the highest, of the budget cut, our schools are one of the highest that's been cut, so we are here to levy support around getting more money for our schools.
I am also a parent that lives in Ward 7, and I have a student that is at McKinley Middle School. And so just looking at the amount of money, the funding that's being reduced in schools across the city, particularly in Ward 7 and 8, is criminal.
I happen to be an ELA teacher, and we have to photocopy books in order for our children to get the literature. And in order to do that, we use a lot of paper. And unfortunately, due to budget cuts, we don't have enough paper, for all of the books that we need. And I'm just one teacher in one school.
Particularly when they look at some of the budget items, they're reducing special education teachers, supports that our students really need in the schools that need the greatest support.
Teachers are taking more of a role on having to deal with behavior issues, and we're not adequately trained for that.
There isn't enough trauma-informed training and things like that for these types of students. So as a special educator, I have a caseload and I teach a full load. And so the students that I service are not necessarily in my classes. So then I have to find additional time to make sure that these students are getting the services that they need. And we already don't have enough social workers and counselors and other people with the proper training to provide these wraparound services for our students. And students should have a right to be able to stay in their school, their home school, in their neighborhood and receive a good education and not have to go uptown or travel an hour or so away.
What are the reasons that they're giving for reducing the budget?
They aren't really giving reasons other than saying that they have to tighten their budget, they have to reduce, and they talk about they're looking at performances. They did this rating of schools, and so as a school is marked down, it seems like that's the school that's getting less funding, but it doesn't make sense. If the school on data, the data that you're using and you're data driven, then it would seem that this school, the data says that they need more support, more resources, more help, more community services so that the children can be successful. So it doesn't make sense.
Supposedly the enrollment is dropping. However, even though enrollment is dropping, we still need the support. For example, I teach Algebra 2, and right now the class size is 15 to 20. With this budget cut, it could easily, the classrooms could go up to 25 to 30 students in a class. So we know that students succeed when it's smaller classes. So that's what we want. We want smaller classes for our students.
We live in DC, we pay tax dollars, and we need to make sure that our students have a good education, not just showing up in dilapidated buildings and administration with making all of this money. And when it comes to our students and you want to filter down to our children, then there's an issue. You want to cut. But we can build stadiums and ask for things for all different types of awards so you can find the money to fund our schools.
I attended public schools all my life and still ended up at UCLA. My husband attended private school all his life and ended up at UCLA. So the education was on par with private school education. But I look at things now, I'm teaching fourth graders who a lot of them can't read on kindergarten level, and we don't have the additional resources to help push them along. Yet, we have to give them the same type of test, like the PARCC testing, in order for them to pass, like every other school. But it's such it's unfair. It's a disadvantage for our kids.
We've had charters in, not all are working well. They're taking money, and the progress, they're not holding them accountable. And it must be a transparency. The days of people just getting money off of children and not educating them, that's wrong.
The cuts we know already is not equitable for children in the city, specifically brown and black bodies. We know that. So whenever we talk about cuts, cutting back what's already insufficient, we have to lend our voices to that cause.
We're out here because we want people to hear us. You know, we definitely don't do this job because we're in it for the pay. We're in it because we actually love our babies. I know for me, I love all 48 of mine. So, yeah.
Fund our schools! Fund our schools! Fund